Hi, folks. So we are going to talk about how to use Satchel Pulse in the data dashboards. So what you're going to do is you're going to go into shared drives. Once you're in shared drives, you're going to find the assessment information, intervention resources, placement data dashboards drive. You're going to double click that to open up the drives, and then you're going to find the data dashboards. Double click that, find 2324, and then you're going to go into the school drive that you want, and you're going to locate the data dashboard. In some schools, there might be more than one set of dashboards. I'm going to double click on this to open it. It takes 25 seconds to load up. It takes a lot of time. There are lots of data points in this work, so it's just going to take a little bit of time. So for our purposes, I'm going to use the Deering Middle School data dashboard, and I'm going to click on the Start Here page. And that Start Here page has all kinds of slicers in it. So you can see that this has all the demographic data. So anything in black is demographic data. Blue is conduct. This yellow-orange color is for Dibbles. The green is for Fastbridge. The purple is Satchel Pulse. The this reddish color is Forefront, and then blue is RICAS, and then this dark purple is for report card data. So I am going to kind of stay right here. So right now I can actually go in and look at any of the information that we have in here. So like I can see that we have beginning of the year lowest sub-skill score, right? And it gives us what area students need to focus on. So I can go in and deselect any of these that I want to and say, you know what, I really want to see any of the students who maybe are having an issue with impulse control. And I'm going to click on impulse control, and I'm going to click on OK. And what that does is that takes this list of filtered students and it ends up shrinking it down, right? So right now I've created column A so that you can't see the text, but you can see that if I scroll through this list, there are about 89 students that have impulse control as an issue, an area of need. And in fact, if I want to, I can click on the three vertical lines here and go to SEL, Satchel Pulse. This is one of the sheets here. And it kind of lays out what's going on regarding those students and Satchel Pulse data. So you can see that the first chart that we have, or the first table, deals with the tiers. So this column here, column B, has the raw totals in the school. So of the 1,005 students, 760 are tier 1, 166 are tier 2, and 79 are tier 3 students. And then column C in every single table actually displays the filtered data. So when I filtered for students who have impulse control issues, this is showing you what those filtered students look like. So this chart here is all of the students, the raw data in the school. This chart here is showing you the number of students in the filtered data. So it just gives you some information. And then what it also does is it gives you the percentages of students in each of the raw data and filtered data lists. And then it gives you this disproportionality data. And what that is telling us is the federal government sets a level of 80% as anything 80% or below is considered to be disproportionate. And what that means is that there's more students represented in the filtered list than should be in the school. So if you look at this, 79 kids, or 7.86% of the students at Deering Middle School that were tested, right, of the 1,005 students, 7.86 were Tier 3 students. But if you look at the filtered students, so of the 89 kids who were filtered out, 12 of them, or 13.48%, are listed in Tier 3, and that's considered to be disproportionate. It also should give you comfort that the students who are Tier 3 students are actually showing up in the list of in that list. So the kids who are impulsive, more of them are in Tier 3 than overall in the school. So that gives us a kind of a target area for those students. And then this is just showing us the teacher screener average information. So of all of the students that we have teacher scores, this is showing you again that the students who were in that impulsive group, 11 of them out of 81 in the school, or 14.29% of the 77 kids, have a low skill set average according to their teachers, and that's disproportionately represented as well in that group. And then this is how students saw themselves, right? So that information is there. And then this is showing you the students in the school in terms of impulse control. So this is the only thing that we were looking at there, and it's showing you that there's 89 kids in the school that represent that behavior. So I could also go in and look at the FastBridge data regarding those students, right? So of those students that also took FastBridge, right, 12 or 17.65% of them were high risk, and you can see that it's disproportionately represented. So the students who are impulsive are also students that have high risk in reading. And you can go through and look at all of the data that we have. You can go to the demographic data and say, okay, here are the students, the 89 impulsive students, right? Here's their grade level breakdown. There's disproportionality in the grade 7 kids, right? So they're overrepresented in that group. I can see that there is no disproportionality regarding gender here, right? When I look at students and their race, we don't have any disproportionality regarding race. We don't have disproportionality regarding Hispanic or Latino. And it looks like there's overrepresentation for students who do not have any kind of special education value. So those are students who've never been tested, never been referred, or whatever. That group is overrepresented. And then here are the students and their disabilities. And then here are the lunch values. And then here are conduct incidences. So kids who have impulsivity as their lowest sub-skill score, right? I can see that there were 10 assaults out of the 86 in the school, and that is disproportionately represented in that group. So they are assaulting other students more. And I'm looking at these other values, and they seem to be proportionally represented in those other values. And then here are the students and the number of students who are the conduct actions. Now, right, it says that these students had 43 student conferences, and that's showing to be disproportionate, but that's probably, we're looking at that backwards, right? We want them to, if they're impulsive, we probably want them to be engaged in student conference in as the conduct action. So you can use the data in the Start Here page and the slicers to kind of start looking at students and slice up. You can look at as many of these values that you want to. So if I wanted to, I could say, I wonder what their absenteeism looks like. So I want to see kids who actually aren't chronically absent. So I know that we're approaching anyone with 4 absences or less is not considered to be chronically absent right now. So when I click OK, what that does is that shows me that the filtered list now has gone down, right? So there are 62 kids or 61 kids in that group. And in fact, I want to go back to Start Here. And I wonder how many of those students who aren't absent all the time, right, are impulsive, are also Tier 3 kids. So I'm going to go to the beginning of the year, and I'm going to clear this out and say, I just want to look at the Tier 3 kids and go to the filtered list now. And that's going to show me that that group is a small group here, right? There are only 7 kids there. And in fact, if I go to the other data, I can look at the demographic data now and see how many of those kids are, what the breakdown looks like in terms of grade level. So it's not like they're all in one grade level. More 5th graders than any other in terms of percentage, right? 8th grade is not far behind regarding the percentages. And then I can also come in here and go to the Satchel Pulse data and then say, how do the kids look at themselves? Well, 5 of the kids out of the 7 said they have moderate skills, and 2 of the kids out of the 7, so 2 of the kids who are Tier 3 kids, also look at themselves in a positive light and say they have a high skill set average. So we can look at that and see if there's something weird about that, or does it make sense, or do we want to question those values? So there's really an awful lot that you can do in this data dictionary with the data dashboard. Once you are done looking at certain data, you can either go back and select all the data and shut off that filter or the slicer, or you can just refresh the page here, or you can actually just click on the hit enter in the URL and it's going to reset the page. The great thing about this tool is every time someone uses it, they're using a clean sheet, so you won't interfere with anyone else when you're looking at it. So I hope you really can utilize these data dashboards to dig deeper into the data in each of your schools.